This is the Sabbath School lesson for the first quarter, 2022.
Welcome to Lesson 1 in the series In These Last Days, the Message of Hebrews. This lesson is titled The Letter to the Hebrews and to Us. It's ready for teaching on January 1, 2022. It's authored by Dr. Felix Cortez, Associate Professor of New Testament Literature in the Seventh-day Adventist Theological Seminary at Andrews University, and I'm your reader for today, Dr. Percy Harrold. Now, as a special introduction to this series of lessons, the author, Professor Felix H. Cortez, who is Associate Professor of New Testament Literature in the Seventh-day Adventist Theological Seminary at Andrews University, will read the introduction to this series of lessons. He is married to Alma Gloria Alvarez and has 2 children, Hadid, a pastor in New Jersey, and Alma, an archaeology major at Andrews University. Thank you, Dr. Felix Cortez.
In these last days, the message of Hebrews. It was at church when he first saw her. He was running an errand, absorbed in his thoughts, when the sight hit him. The painting was a little less than 2 meters high and 3 meters wide. But the girl portrayed in it exerted a strange, captivating force over the young man. Why could he not take his eyes off of her? What was it? After some reflection, he realized that it was her eyes. The painting portrayed only her face, and she was looking at something intently. But what? And why was she so absorbed in it? For a long time afterward, he couldn't get the painting out of his head. Several years later, the painter Arnold Jimenez revealed some of its secrets to the young man. The painting was made to attract viewers to her eyes, but the real secret was in her pupils. If you look closely, you will find out that they reflected what she was looking at. Her eyes were fixed on Jesus on the cross. The portrait of Jesus in the letter to the Hebrews can exert a similar captivating force upon us. Jesus is described, first of all, as a ruler of the universe, enthroned at God's right hand. Innumerable angels celebrate him, worship him, and serve him. He has won the right to rule because he has ensured the destruction of the devil through his own death. Jesus also is the exalted high priest. Sinless and perfectly holy, he lives forever to minister in our behalf in the heavenly sanctuary. He has won the right to do so because he offered himself as a perfect, once-for-all sacrifice, effective for everyone and forever. Jesus also has mediated a new covenant between God and his people that will stand forever. What captivates readers about the portrait of Jesus, however, is not simply what Jesus has done, but who he is. He was born from a woman as we were, and he has been tempted and ridiculed as we have been. Yet, still, he sits at the center of power in the universe. When we gaze at the heavenly scene, with its diverse and fantastic celestial beings, our eyes are attracted to the one in the center of it all, who, amazingly enough, looks like us because he has become one of us. Jesus, our brother, is there in heaven representing us, despite the shame of our sin and fallenness. In the person of Jesus, 3 dimensions of the story of redemption intersect. The first is the local, personal dimension. For readers tired of the reproaches and hardships of Christian life, Jesus is the author and perfecter of faith. They need to look to him who also suffered hostility from sinners. The second is the corporate, national dimension. For the people of God who are traveling towards God's promised land, Jesus is the new Joshua. They need to follow his lead. The third is the universal dimension. Jesus is the new Adam, the Son of Man in whom God's purposes for humanity are fulfilled. The portrait of Jesus who captures the breadth and length and height and depth of God's love for us is our subject this quarter. And just as the image of Jesus in the eyes of the girl in the painting captured the young man's gaze, may the image of Jesus as portrayed in Hebrews capture not just our gaze, but our love and admiration for, yes, Jesus, our brother in heaven.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind, and It Is Written. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. Remember, God is always faithful.